Previously on Lately Fashionable. My new challenge for September-October is to only wear dresses. I am 3 days into my mini challenge of wearing dresses every day for a month, and I can already tell that I'm going to need some more dresses. And I either want to make this red wool dress or this wool dress. I only have up to a size 12. I am not a size 12 anymore. So, good news, I was able to find the larger size range of the pattern on a creative reuse website called D-Stash Co, and the price was right, so I ordered it and it should be here next week. And in the meantime, I think I'm going to start gathering up the patterns that I have in my stash that are not in my size range and donate them to D-Stash Co. Because I'm not going to be using them, somebody else might, and I definitely want to support creative reuse and thrift stores whenever possible. And now we can get back to starting on the red dress. Enjoy. I don't know if I mentioned or not, but the new pattern that I ordered came in like 2 days after I ordered it. Very fast shipping. I was extremely pleased. Once again, I got this from D-Stash Co, and I will definitely be using them again in the future. This pattern is fully uncut, so that's easy. I know all of the pattern pieces are intact and present. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get started and cut it out. And I'm choosing to make this one next before I make the plaid dress I'm planning from this pattern. Largely because as soon as I put this dress on and looked in the mirror, I realized I don't really have any solid color dresses. And they're great. They're super versatile, and I feel like I should have more. And yes, I have 2 black dresses that are just black and white or black and gray, but they are also not a fully solid color. And I feel like there's just something extra vintage about a solid color dress. And also, I really do miss this dress, and I am very disappointed that the extension that I did while it worked wasn't enough for me to be able to wear this dress again. I really liked this style. I liked that it was wool. I don't have any other wool dresses, so with winter coming, I need some. And I'm going to start with a red one. So, without further ado, let's make the red dress. I'm using this beautiful cranberry red wool gabardine that has been in my stash for years. I only had 2 yards, but fortunately it was 62 inches wide. Still, that was not quite enough for the recommended pattern layout. Good thing I always ignore that anyway. I'm usually much better at making the best use of my fabric than the pattern suggests. However, this was an especial challenge because of the asymmetry of the dress. But only the front is asymmetrical. The front pattern pieces are all cut 1, and the back and sleeves are all cut 2, or on the fold. And then I decided to make it even more challenging for myself, as I will discuss in a minute. Okay, I think I have everything cut out. I mean, laid out. I haven't cut it out yet, but I'm pretty sure I have all of the pieces, and they're in the right orientation, and it's all going to work. I'm a little nervous because I really don't have enough fabric to make this dress, and I'm making it anyway. You may have noticed I did something weird with the back skirt piece, and that is because I have both the pattern, which is a reproduction of a pattern from 1946, and I have information about this pattern from the Commercial Pattern Archive, which I will link below. And this is what the original pattern was like. It had 2 skirt back pieces, a center back piece cut on the fold and a side back piece. So I am using this as a guide to make changes to my pattern. Partly because I want to make it more accurate to the original pattern, and partly because doing it this way is actually going to take up less fabric. It's counterintuitive, but cutting the back piece as 2 pieces instead of 1, I was able to flip the side back piece around and line it up against the diagonal line of the center back piece. So in practice, that looks like this. This is going to be my center back piece with the fold and no center back seam. So I just folded my actual pattern piece along the line that I want to create the seam, and then I traced a 1/2 inch out from that seam edge with chalk so that I could line up the other piece flipped around so that this one is wider at that end and narrower down here, and then this one's wider down here and narrower up there, and therefore it's going to take up less space to get the same amount of skirt back. Fortunately, the fabric is all one color, so I don't have to worry about directional print or anything like that. Another thing that the original pattern did differently, I don't know if you can tell here, it actually has a back keyhole opening at the back neck, and therefore there's a back facing piece. There's also a front facing piece, and I believe, unlike the modern reproduction pattern, this front yoke bit doesn't open. It's actually sewn closed, and then you open up the back neck keyhole with a little buttonhole to get the dress on and off over your head. I'm considering not doing the back keyhole, partly because my hair tends to get caught on a back keyhole neckline, and partly because I feel like I don't need it. As I recall from making this dress the first time, I was able to get it on and off over my head without even opening that yoke section, which just closes with snaps. But I think it's not necessary, and I might not do it. I'm still debating. I know I definitely want the back skirt in 3 pieces, because that's going to take up less fabric. I know I am not going to have enough fabric for the matching tie belt, but I'm okay with that. I was planning on using a black belt anyway, just purchasing one, because this dress is going to have black accents. It's going to have black buttons at the wrist cuffs instead of the snaps or hooks and eyes, I think, that the pattern calls for. I'm going to do buttons and little buttonhole loops. It's going to be adorable. I want to point out something funny that I noticed about this pattern when I was making it the first time, and I noted in my blog post about it. This is the belt pattern piece, but there's a typo, and it was called bell, and then bell was translated into all of the other languages instead of belt. All of those mean bell. Oh, I just find that so funny. Okay. I should probably stop stalling and cut this thing out. Wish me luck. I have successfully cut out all of the pieces for the red dress, and I have decided I'm going to double down on doing the original vintage design. Let me show you. So as a reminder, here are all of the vintage original design pieces, including a back neck facing for the keyhole neckline opening, and a front neckline facing as well. So here are all of my pieces cut out. I've got the back bodice on the fold. I made a facing there. The back skirt panels, center back on the fold, and 2 side panels. This is going to be my side placket opening. Then the bodice and the yoke. The skirt right and left fronts, which will get attached at this funny seam. I had enough of my scraps to cut exactly 1 pocket, so I'm going to put it in the right hand side, which is where I'm going to be using a pocket most anyway, and I just won't have a pocket on the left side and it won't interfere with the placket closure at all. And then we have the front facing and the sleeves. I made up this facing piece by combining the front bodice yoke piece with the front lining, and I just lined them up and matched these dots for the size that I was cutting out, and that gave me my facing piece. So I'm not going to line this dress. I don't think the original dress was intended to be lined, and that's why it had the neckline facing pieces. And I know a lot of dresses in the 40s were not lined. So this is what I'm going to go with, and I think it's going to work out. I'm getting really excited for this dress, and I can't wait to wear it. Right now, I need to finish marking all of the notches and darts and everything else that needs to be marked, and then I'm going to serge all of the raw edges before I sew everything together. I am ready to start constructing the red dress, but first I want to show you a couple of things because I have a tip for making use of not quite enough fabric to make the thing you want to make. For instance, if you have to overlap your pattern pieces slightly and one is like cutting into another one, but it's within the seam allowance, which here is 5/8 of an inch, you're good. I have another example up here on the corners of the 2 side back panels. It's within the 5/8 on that side and on that side, so it's going to be fine. And then down here at the bottom, so this is going to be the hem edge, and I wasn't quite able to cut around the corner where I had snipped out a sample of this fabric years ago when I was trying to catalog my fabrics and I wanted a sample. But the hem on this dress is 2.5 inches. So I'm going to patch this, and then the patch will be below the hem edge so it won't show. And that is just one of the ways that I get away with not enough fabric. So remember how I was doing a month of wearing dresses, and that was the whole reason I was working on new dresses to begin with? That's over tomorrow, and it would be really cool if I could get this dress done today so that I could wear it tomorrow on the last day of my month of wearing dresses. How do you think I'm doing? I have all of the pieces serged and ready to put together. I have sewn some darts, and I have stay stitched the corners of the pieces that have sharp corners that need to be cut and then sewn to other pieces. So I think like the prep work is done and I can just assemble now. The back skirt is assembled, but that's it. So just most of the actual sewing needs to be done now. I did go ahead and attach the yoke piece on the front bodice left side, and I'm doing that instead of having it be an opening, because I remember when I wore this dress, this was always really annoying that there was like gapping and you could see the snaps, and I don't want to deal with that, and it's going to have the back keyhole neckline opening, so I won't need that front neckline opening to be able to get in and out of the dress. Also, I feel like I was able to get that dress on and off over my head without undoing the front opening, so it's just very unnecessary. I did trim off like a 2-inch strip of the yoke because it was much longer than it needed to be to just attach, but I lined it up with the pattern piece so that it would match up on the other side with the lovely little tucked shoulder. Yeah, so let's assemble this thing. Okay, so the issue with going with the larger pattern size is that the sleeve is way too big for me. Like, both too loose and too long. Which is annoying, because it's almost midnight and I want to wear this tomorrow. I don't want to deal with the sleeves, I just want to put it all together. I do have a small shoulder pad in here to help. I'm not sure how much it's helping, but alright. Time to deal with sleevels. Okay, so since I have to fix the sleeves anyway, I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity to fix them back to the vintage style. Let me explain. I noticed too late, because I had already cut out all of my pieces, that the sleeve on the vintage pattern piece diagram, whatever it's called, is slightly slanted from back to front and is supposed to be gathered or perhaps darts put in to ease that excess in right at the elbow. And I've worked with vintage patterns in the past that use this technique, and it's a really good way to get a fitted sleeve that doesn't cut off, you know, circulation to your arms. But the modern pattern does not do that. It's just a straight sleeve. I think it's banking on the fact that people are used to stretch fabrics and might use a stretch fabric to make this dress. I don't know. But also, the sleeve is just much roomier than it needs to be, and I don't want that. So, I dug this pattern piece out from this pattern, which I have made this dress with the 3/4 length sleeves, but I did not use the pattern piece for the long sleeve option. And as you can see, it does have darts here. I'm just going to gather this. I'm going to ease it. I'm not going to do the darts because I don't want to. But you can see how it's sloped down. It has that extra shaping in the back. I'm going to use this to cut new sleeves from the sleeves I have already cut. I should probably do a mock-up first. Let's do that. Okay, I have a sleeve mock-up, and unfortunately I did the right sleeve, so I have to hold the camera really awkwardly with my non-dominant hand. I think it's gonna work. I've got pretty good range of motion. It doesn't feel tight or restrictive. I think it looks pretty good hanging. So I did just gather at the elbow instead of doing the darts, and I think that's gonna look okay. It is still too long, so I'll have to make it shorter, but that's fine. So let's go see if that pattern piece fits on my cutout red sleeves. Okay, real quick, I've just folded and tucked up the excess to see how long I want the sleeve to be. I think this is where I want it to hit. It's going to be right at my wrist, a little bit lower when, when my arm is straight, but not getting too short when I extend. Still feel pretty good range of motion, so I'm gonna go with that. Okay, I have my sleeves unpicked and laid out flat again, and I have my pattern piece laid out, and I'm actually going to leave it here for tonight because if I have learned one thing in almost 30 years of sewing, it is do not sew sleeves after midnight. You can probably see in my eyes how tired I am. This is not a good state to be dealing with sleeves, so I'm not even going to cut them right now. I'm not going to wear this dress tomorrow. It's okay. I can wear it in 2 days. It'll be fine. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to get a good night's sleep and start fresh the day after tomorrow, actually, because tomorrow I have to film a video and I won't have time to sew. Okay, bedtime. Okay, I'm going to try to finish the red dress today because I'm cold and I want to wear it so I can be warm. Okay, we left off here because we don't sew sleeves after midnight, especially because my new pattern piece does not exactly fit on my original sleeves. But that's okay because when I tried on this sleeve, when it was attached to my bodice, I folded up the edge to where I wanted the finished sleeve to end. So I have this much to play with. And I considered cutting it the same and using this end as a self-facing for the sleeve opening, which I would like to do. But like I said, I just don't quite have enough. And I suppose I could still do that and just make it a shorter opening, because I was able to get this on and off without an opening there. So I think it would be okay. But I could also just cut it with a regular hem amount and line the sleeve. Or maybe cut a separate facing from some of my scraps. I have a few scraps I could probably get that out of. So what's most important here? That I preserve the grain line, or that I get the full length? So I think I'm going to do the simplest thing and make a separate facing. Which means I can actually... So this is the length of the sleeve that I need. And... Okay, I've got my sleeves and I've got my facings. I went ahead and attached seam binding to the top edge of the facing. Now on this one, because I cut it on the selvage, I could get really close with my stitches. And on this one, I had to go in further, but that's okay because this one was wider initially. That was intentional, so I could get the widest possible facing from this piece. That was smaller. Anyway, that worked out. And I have stitched them to the same point so that I can now line that up and sew together. I'm very close to finishing the red dress. As you can see, I've attached the bodice to the skirt. I have tried it on and it fits, and I'm really looking forward to having it. I need to attach the sleeves, but the sleeves themselves are nearly done. I have the cuffs all faced on the inside. I still need to tack the top edge of the seam binding, which I'm going to do by hand so that it will be invisible on the inside. And I will also need to add the button loops and buttons to the cuffs, which maybe I should do that before I attach the sleeves. I just got done pressing the entire dress really nicely, and I've been using a scrap of muslin as a press cloth and spraying that with water to steam any of the stubborn wrinkles. So now the dress is pressed really nicely, and I don't want to get it all wrinkled again by crumpling it up in my lap and sitting on the couch and hand sewing. So I might just go inside and do that real quick, watch some TV, and then come back and sew the sleeves on. Although I'm afraid that if I do that and I get all comfy on the couch, I'm not going to want to come back out here and finish the dress. So maybe I should sew the placket on first. Actually, I should definitely sew the placket on first, because I will also need to hand sew the snaps and hooks on the placket after it's put together. And then I should hem the dress. And then I could go inside, do the hand sewing, and come back out and sew the sleeves on. As long as it's not after midnight, because we don't sew sleeves after midnight. I have a dress. It's in one piece. So very close to, actually done. I need to attach the fasteners to the side placket. And I still need to hand tack the facing inside the sleeves and do the buttons at the sleeve cuffs and the keyhole back. Let me show you that real quick. So I just need one button and loop at the back here. And then my original vision was for 3 buttons at each wrist, but I think there's not really enough space. It's actually a very small cuff opening. So I might just do 1, maybe 2. I don't know. I haven't fully decided yet. I really should decide because it's like the last thing I need to do. Very happy with the sleeves. They are the perfect length. I've got range of motion. They look really nice. Just hanging at my side, I think they're the exact right width and fit. I really like the little gather at the elbow. I think it's cute. Gives me you know, I can move all over the place. Yeah, so that's great. Vintage style sleeves for the win. I'm so happy with this dress. I think the length is good. I basically hemmed it to where I needed to turn up to cover this little patch at the side back seam. And that was about where the pattern told me to hem anyway. I think it was 2.5 inches. I think I did just under 2.5. I think it was 2 3/8. But it's hitting right below my knee. And I like that. I think it looks good. I do like how the neckline came out asymmetrical. That's how it's supposed to look. And all in all, it's an asymmetrical dress. It's doing its thing, and I'm pleased. Okay, I think as much as I want to wear this dress tomorrow, I should not continue working on it because I am tired. I finished the sleeves, and the sleeves worked, so that's good. That's a big hurdle, but I do not want to continue doing hand sewing right now. I want to go to bed. I'm going to do that, and I'll pick this up tomorrow, bright and early, probably. Okay, so I know I kept saying I want to wear this dress tomorrow, so I really need to finish it. But I am pressing pause, and I'm slowing down, and I'm not trying to rush to finish it. This is for 4 reasons, I think. Reason number 1, my month of dresses is over, so there's no longer a rush to finish it to wear it during my month of dresses. And I still have the whole winter where I'm going to be wearing it a lot. I'm going to get it done, but I would like to take more time and care and really finish it well. So I guess that's reason 1, A and B. Let's go with that. Reason 2, this one is very important. I need to focus on my family Halloween costumes. So I'm setting this aside, and I'm going to finish it after Halloween. Reason 3, I've got to talk about the button loops that I want to put at the back keyhole, neckline opening, and the sleeves. I should have put the loops inside the seam so that they would be really nicely finished on the outside. And I could have done that with the sleeves, but I really couldn't have done that with the back neck hole just because that seam allowance was so small, because the slit is only like a 1/4 inch apart, so it's really like 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, and I don't want any extra strain on that seam. I don't want it coming apart. I've had issues with a similar style of keyhole opening in the back of a different dress, which I no longer wear for unrelated reasons. So I've been noodling around in my brain trying to figure out how I want to make these button loops from scraps of my leftover fabric, because I definitely do want fabric loops. That's always been the plan for this dress. And I've decided that I want to just make a bunch of rouleau trim from whatever scraps I have left and do a decorative, like, soutache style decoration all around the back keyhole opening, and then do a similar thing on the cuffs, and then just use a loop of that rouleau trim to make the button loop, and it will just be an organic part of the design, which is obviously going to take a long time because that's going to be a lot of hand sewing and lots of fiddly pinning and figuring out a design, because of course I'm going to want it to be symmetrical. So that's reason 3. Reason 4. I am unhappy with how the hem looks at the moment. It's just not hanging right, and I could press it more, but part of the problem is I did kind of a bad job of hemming it, and this was my second attempt. I hemmed it once, I wasn't happy with it, I hemmed it again, and I'm just not thrilled with how it's looking And I feel like if I press it, it's just going to press in a bunch of little pleats on the inside. And it's still going to hang funny. But I have an idea for how I'm going to fix it. I was just watching a From Carly B video where she's making a skirt and she was talking about doing a hem facing. And I think, because it's got a nice deep hem, it's 2.5 inches, I think I can just cut like a 1/4 inch below the hemline that I've pressed and use the remaining 2 1/4 inches for my hem facing. And that will take care of this, where I have that little pieced bit, because the piece that I'm going to cut off is going to be longer than the hem that I will need to face. So I will probably be able to just cut that out and not have it as part of the new hem. I think this will work. But once again, I'm putting it aside until after Halloween. So, I'm gonna work on Halloween now, and I will see you in November, okay? Okay, Halloween is over. My video about my Halloween costumes is published. That was an extra week, but it's up now. It's fine. So it is now time to finish the red dress so that I can start wearing it finally. And yes, I brought this on myself. I decided to make it take longer and do extra embellishment, but I'm also really excited about it, so let's get going. So here's where I got to last night. I have been making my rouleau trim. I got the instructions from the Fabric and Fiction blog, which I will link in the description. It's very detailed, very good instructions. And I've just pinned in place on one of the sleeves, I think, the design I'm going to end up going with. I really like this like scallop with swirls around the cuff. And then it's going to end with 2 button loops, maybe 3 if I have room, but I don't think I will. We'll see. I want to end before this join here. I started sewing the trim together and I paused partway through to see how far this much would take me. This is 3 lengths of the bias put together, and I really only need 2 to get around 1 cuff. So I will probably only end up using 2 of these as well for the other cuff. And then I've got more that I can do, which will go around the back neck edge and make the 1 loop for the keyhole neckline opening. Oh, and I also stitched the top of the sleeve facing by hand on both sleeves, so that is done. So this is going to be a lot of hand sewing, which is good. That's a nice evening by the fire project. It's cold enough outside now that we like to have a fire going in our living room in the evenings while we watch TV, so that's very cozy. So I'm going to focus on finishing the dress, getting the buttonholes on, and the snaps and skirt hook that will go at the side placket closure, because then I can actually wear it. And I'm going to wait to fix the hem until everything else is done, because as is I can wear it. It is hemmed, so that's wearable even if I don't like the way it looks, and I can fix it later, but this way I will at least be able to wear it if I want to. And I probably will, because like I said, it is getting cold. And now I have hand sewing to do. Just not right now, because as you can see, it is still light out, so I'm going to get some other work done on something else that won't be in this video, but will be a future video probably. And I will catch up with you with hand sewing. Guess what? The red dress is done! I really love it. As you can probably tell, I'm very excited. I'm really happy with how the sleeve cuffs came out, although it turns out I don't actually need to unbutton the buttons to get the sleeves on and off. But it's so pretty. Look at that. Oh, I'm so pleased. And here's the back. So I am overall very happy with the dress. It does have a few minor things that I do want to fix, but it's wearable, so it's done. And I can fix those things as time goes on. One of the things is I definitely need to add the little loops to hold your bra strap in place. There's a word for that, right? There's a term. Can't think of it right now, but some dresses, some tops need those more than others, and I don't know why. I can't explain why that is, but for some reason, in the only half day I've been wearing this dress, I've been fighting with my bra straps the entire time. Another thing is shoulder pads. I forgot to make those, so I will add them. I think it will improve the overall silhouette. It will get some of the looseness. Well, that was a great time to run out of battery. Anyway, the shoulder pads will get some of this looseness, I think, out of the upper bodice. I don't know if you can tell in the back. It's just not hanging quite right. So I'm gonna do shoulder pads and see if we can fix that. And I do still want to redo the hem, give it a nice facing, and I think it will just hang nicer. It's not bad. Like I said, it's wearable, but it could be better. So I am going to make it better. And I will probably wait and do all of my reveal footage until after I've made those changes. But for you, that's just gonna be now. And now that this is done, I am actually going to go through my patterns like I said I would before and pick out the ones that I am going to donate to D-Stash Co. So let's go do that real quick. Okay, I think I have come up with a pretty sizable stash of patterns to give away. I am going to want to go through all of these first and make sure that they are complete before I donate them, because as we know, orphaned pattern pieces like to float around my sewing studio. Anyway, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to give me a like, and if you want to see more, definitely subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! Once again, I got this at D-Stash. D-Stash? So this is how the braid, not braid, is that inside? Yes, okay. Into just